Hey guys, SGT here, and it's always a pleasure to have our bi-weekly visit with Bob Chapman of the International Forecaster. Probably more to talk about today with Bob than ever before, so let's get started. Welcome back, Bob.
I'm pretty good.
You sound good. You sound like you're holding up. You don't sound as emotionally distressed as so many of the rest of us have been.
Well, I don't let that stuff bother me. After 52 years in the trenches, it doesn't even faze me.
You've seen it all, I know. Well, I put out a little sort of an emergency update for folks just to do touch base because I don't want people to think that when the going gets tough, those of us who speak truth, just stay silent.
Hide.
Yeah, we just hide.
That's
no,
right.
because this is a little unexpected, but at the same time, I wanted the folks to whom this is new to realize that the same thing happened in 2008, right around the Bear Stearns crash, when they took it down to about 9. What do you make of this?
Well, you got to expect this with a corporate fascist government. I mean, that's what we got. We got a dictatorship. They do what they want. The only saving factor is that the only thing that you can go to that's safe to put your funds into is gold and silver related assets. That's it. There is nothing else. Eventually, the stock market and the bond market's going to go down, and you can't go into real estate. And commodities are something that are a specialty. They're very difficult for the average person to get involved in. It's okay for professionals, but not the guy in the street. So the simple way to do it is the way that we've recommended. And what do? When you find a bottom, you buy some more.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Right. Yeah, well, and they're giving us an extraordinary opportunity to go out there and buy some more physical at a 30% discount to where it was a week ago, Bob. I mean, that's insane, a 30% discount, because we all know that the COMEX is under pressure. They have less than 33 million ounces of physical silver left on hand. A few months back, they had 107 million ounces on hand. So essentially, there is a run on physical silver at the COMEX right now, and these banksters just gave everybody that's listening to this a 30% discount on physical.
That's right. And none of the coin stores, purveyors, they don't have any inventory. You can pick up some here and there. One of our subscribers lives about 3 blocks from the Perth Mint in Australia. And he went down to buy some yesterday. And all these people are in line, 30 or 40 of them. And he says, don't put this in the publication. But I was in line, and there was one guy there who was the seller. He says, I bought the silver from him.
Sometimes when I go and I buy physical at a coin show, I do feel like I'm getting away with something. I mean, I'm exchanging this paper, and they're taking it, and they're giving me something that I know is precious. I've done the research. I know what the fundamentals are. I can't believe that these dealers, Bob, these dealers don't even know as much as we know.
No.
They're happy to take my paper and give me the silver. It freaks me out.
Well, all they want is the current income, and it's always been the case. I was involved in coins before I was involved in stocks, and so I knew hundreds of dealers, and not as a professional, but as a accumulator. And really, there are some exceptions, but by and large, they think they know something they don't.
Yeah.
Both gold and silver in here are attempting to make a bottom.
Yeah.
Whether that'll stick or not remains to be seen, but it's coming. Look, this is what happened. We had margins of 10,000. They raised margins 5 times in 6 days.
Right.
And the margin right now is 21,600. Now, what they did is, the government, is they got a hold of the big commodity houses, and they told them that because of the situation that was going on, they wanted them to recommend their clients to sell out of the commodity market, especially gold and silver. And they asked them to double the margins at which CME had set. And CME, which is the owner of COMEX, they had been told what to do. That's why you had 5 increases in margin requirements. So the major firms first went to 30,000. Now they're at 42,000, which drives all of the small and medium-sized players out of the market.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you've seen the fall that you've seen. I didn't think they'd take it that far. And the reason why is because we're looking at a situation where they have full exposure. Everybody's going to know what they're doing. Now, I've told my subscribers and others on the radio program starting just recently, and I'll tell you first why I'm doing this. A friend of mine owns a mining company, and there's been a 2-year case pending in Canada of naked shorting his stock, and charges about to be brought very soon. A lot of investigation. The Canadian authorities were very, very, very good in doing their job.
Good.
Now, he is talking to one of the top people at the SEC, and he went to them 9 months ago, and they weren't interested. They said they lost his file, and through connections, he was introduced to the right person, and they have a full-blown investigation going on right now. And one of the people who runs one of the exchanges told this gentleman, when asked, he was asked, have you received any complaints from people about naked shorting in gold and silver or in the stocks? And the guy says to him, you would think that they had call centers. He said, the 3 major exchanges in the SEC and the CFTC, Commodity Futures Trading Corporation, they are receiving over 1,000 complaints a day.
That's fantastic.
Now, this is what you do, ladies and gentlemen. You write a note and you email it, and the note will say, dear Mr. So-and-so, or Miss So-and-so, whatever. I own gold and silver, coins, bullion, and shares. And the United States government is manipulating the market, and I want to stop now. That's all you have to put in there. You send that to every representative, every senator, CFTC, SEC, and the 3 CEOs of the New York, American, and NASDAQ stock exchanges. And even if we don't get any satisfaction from them, they know we know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And a time will come when there will be retribution legally. Yeah. And even if they're dead, we'll go after their estates.
Yeah, it's our duty.
They're not going to get away with this. They are so blatant, they think they're above the law, which they are presently, actually.
Right.
But that will change. And that's what you should all do. Bombard them and have everybody you know bombard them. They don't expect it. The amount of complaints is rising day by day. And some of the congressmen and senators are starting to talk to each other about the problem. Gold's up $4.70 and silver's up 10 cents. It shows you how volatile the market is right now.
Yeah, no, and you're right. It is our duty. It's our duty to write our congressmen and our senators and to speak out, because I had a thesis not that long ago, Bob, as you know, which was even if the CFTC doesn't step up and do their job and enforce regulations, it does not matter. This was my opinion, because the silver market and the silver price was finding its true value as that thing moved up to 50. But I had underestimated when I wrote the article that $50 silver is the bankster's Waterloo, and at SGTreport.com, I underestimated them, Bob. I didn't realize that they would throw 8 years of global silver supply in paper at the market in a week. I want to credit an article to Jason Hommel in which he wrote, quote, one article last week noted that, quote, 8 years of global silver supply changed hands last week. He could not calculate how much silver traded hands in the OTC, the over-the-counter markets, which are unreported and unregulated, which are typically 20 times larger than the visible markets like the COMEX and the ETFs. The article shows that the amount of paper trading of silver has recently grown to perhaps 1,000 times larger than the real silver market. Bob, I mean, this is when we talk about the 100-to-1 paper manipulation of gold and silver, the 100-plus ounces of paper silver and paper gold that are in the markets for every 1 ounce of physical, we are seeing it. If people don't believe that, they need only look at the daily volume in the SLV over the last week. They need only look at what's happening in the COMEX. You know, it's just extraordinary, the number of contracts, the number of paper, the paper charade that this is cannot be overestimated.
Well, I couldn't have said it better, and there was no resistance at $50. That's what the problem was.
Sure.
And I talked about it. I said, you know, almost everybody who bought silver at that level is dead. Or it went to their ears, and they, of course, sold it.
Yeah, you're right. No, we talked about that last time.
Then I got a couple of letters, and the letters said, hey, wait a minute, I'm not dead yet. And I still got that position. So I didn't feel foolish, you know, 2 out of, you know, millions of people that
there's just a few of those guys
to.
left. Yeah, right.
But anyway, that was it, and that's why they had to act there. But I didn't think they'd take it down this far. I didn't think they were that dumb.
You know, I didn't either, and to be honest with you, I didn't think they could, and that's where I feel like I've really underestimated their ability to carry out nefarious acts. I didn't even think they could, because I thought, and I still do. I mean, I know there is strong support at $25.50. I mean, that's Katie bar the door. You know, all hands in, buy as much as you can. The Chinese will put a floor on this thing, I think, at some point. But I thought the Asian buyers would step in long before now. But maybe they can't even deal with this much paper.
Well, I think they've been buying all the way down.
Yeah.
And that would be the Chinese, the Russians, the Brazilians, the Iranians, the Indians, of course. And lowly old Mexico, 96.4 tons they bought 2 months ago. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got to be kidding me. Mm-hmm. And, you know, there's been a big movement in Mexico for the past, I'd say, 15 years to back the peso with silver. They're the second largest producer in the world.
Yep.
You know, quite frankly, Mexico is a very well-run country. I mean, there's a lot of corruption, but every country has it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. In fact, our country, America, today is probably one of the worst.
Well, I agree. As the Pentagon continues to wage war all over this planet with printed money out of thin air, yeah, it's beyond the pale. When I was a child growing up, Bob, I never thought that I would get to a point in my adulthood where I actually viewed my own government as an enemy of the planet. You know, we could be a force for good, and that's what's so distressing to those of us who really do care about this country and want to take it back.
Well, I found the same thing out when I went into counterintelligence. Boy, I tell you, it only took about 2 weeks, and I said, you know, this is just another mafia.
This concludes Part 1. Click here for Part 2.